Okay guys, so welcome to the second part of Command Operations 2. Welcome back. If this is your first video, I give you a warm welcome. I'm so excited to show how this wargame works. So we talked about the controls that we have here. We already know that we can control time. If you have played Combat Mission, you know that Combat Mission has this wiggle type of turns where you can either do it real time or you can do it wiggle. Every minute is going to develop the actual action. You can do it here whatever you want. You can do it real time, you can play, you can let it go, you can go fast over here. Even, as I was saying before, you can give orders to the whole division, or you can go 3 levels down, which is what is going to be recommended according to the actual developers. And that's what I'm going to do here. And as I mentioned before, I'm going to follow slightly the same strategies that are going to be shown on the actual tutorial. Now, the whole premise of this is that the actual AI is pretty efficient. The first thing we're going to concentrate ourselves on, I'm not going to talk about right now about the Germans, we're going to concentrate ourselves over here. Now, there's a button here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You can do it as well from here. There are different ways to do it. Okay, so now let's focus ourselves in our troops on what we're seeing here. Now let's go to, it's going to be good if we have the order of battle over here, just to show you a little bit of the situation. I'm going to minimize everything here. And we have the CCA 4th Armed Division HQ. So we begin here. What we are going to do is to send orders to the actual division, and then I'm going to send orders to this battalion and to the infantry battalion. Okay, the first thing we have to take into account here before moving our troops in the planning process is to take into account the key factors. You're not going to have this as I have it. I have just unpressed the button here. I'm going to press the button that says here that is going to show us the objectives. So you can find it here or you can press J. Now here we can see the objectives. If I go slightly to the objectives and I click Steinbrook Bridge, we can see that there's a circle indicating where is that objective. And then we have the other one, Lamas Villa. So what is a key factor here? Well, a key factor is basically the fact that the only bridge that we can cross with our troops, because mostly we have mechanized troops. Here we have one battalion that is an infantry, which is an infantry regiment. We have another 2 battalions, and the other one is here. We have a couple of one company here and a battalion there. But we have most of our troops are mechanized troops, so we can cross just this one here. I'm going to click here. You can see here in yellow, this is the only place that we can cross. How do we know this? Because if we go to terrain info, we can see that here, over here, it says that this is a heavy bridge, and it says that motorized troops can move 20%. And if I go here, we see that this is pretty much a minor river where motorized troops cannot move. However, foot troops can move. And over here, if we see the information here as well, we see the stream, which we cannot move if we are trying to mobilize mechanized troops. And then we have the crossing point that says motorized 0%. As clearly as it is here, and then here we can see that it says that motorized 2%. The key factor here is this bridge, the heavy bridge that we have here. The reason is because it is a crossing point that allows us to get into the next objective. So that's the reason, number one. The second reason that this is a key factor is because motorized troops are able to move here better in comparison with other areas. So what is the factor here? The factor here is that there's only one crossing to reach our objectives. And we're going to ask ourselves now what we're going to do. We must secure that crossing. And this is going to be the situation. Now, let's move to the other side. So we have here with no orders, we're going to click here and we're going to make the Germans appear here so we can concentrate ourselves now with them. We know that they are here in this valley because this color over the river means that is low ground. And even if you see the information here, by right-clicking, you're going to see that it says slope 10 degrees. And if we go here, we can start seeing 12 degrees, and here 12 degrees, 10 degrees, 7 degrees. We can see the degrees here. But the most important thing is that lighter colors, as I mentioned before, are high and darker colors are down. So they are pretty much this platoon of engineers and this company of half tracks are basically on the northern side of the river, and these guys are on the southern bank of the river as well, in slightly on that slope. So these are the German defenses. So pretty much what we have to understand here is what could be the potential plan that the Germans are going to effectuate. One plan could be that they are going to stay in here, waiting for us to move up to this part of the hill, and then they are going to attack us, waiting because right now at night is going to be difficult for us to see them. Some of them are hidden on the woods, so they can attack us while these guys try to understand what is happening, and then these guys could move down the hill and start reinforcing this area, because as we know, this is an important area because this is the part in which we can enter Belgium and start moving north to Saint Vith. So that could be a potential reaction of the enemy. Now, if we manage to rout these guys and they start to push back into the area of Steinbrück and they start deorganizing, running away from us all over this area, then we're going to have the bridge for us and we're going to be able to move further troops in here and start attacking Lomos Villa. Attacking Lomos Villa is going to be a little bit difficult because of the terrain, because we have to go uphill and they have all of this defensive area that they have on high ground. Before continuing, if you remember, I have mentioned something about a method. I'm going to take you all to this method that I use, and perhaps is going to be something that you could implement yourself in your next scenario. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, so this way I'm going to be able to show a little bit of the Ur River here. We can use this method to understand a little bit more of the actual area of operations. The Our River is separating Germany from Belgium, so at the point when we cross the river, we are entering the country of Belgium. The Our River goes from Belgium downstream to Luxembourg. With that out of the way, we can zoom in a little bit. This is roughly the area of the CCA of the 4th Army Division HQ. Then if we see over there, we see on to the north in the area of Walmerath. If we move there, this is going to be as well roughly the location of the 35th tank battalion. And this is going to be the HQ plus the other battalions that are going to be in this area. As we can see here, there's a representation of a battalion both on the symbol and the abbreviation. Further, if we see there to El-Kirath is the location of the other battalion. We have two battalions. The other is the 1st Battalion HQ of the 318 Infantry Regiment. We're going to go there just in a second, but I just want you to have a look at the frontier, which is roughly here where you can see the actual pointer of the mouse. We can see that there is roughly I think this is the area where the river is going downstreams. So what I'm trying to illustrate here is that we are not so far. Let me go and show you. Over there we can see right now the 51 Armored Infantry Battalion HQ. Okay, let's have a look at the location of the 51st Armored Infantry Battalion HQ. If I zoom in a little bit, we are going to see that over there, there's a hill. Over here, you can see the map of actual command operations 2. And it is actually shown on the map that that area is actually a hill. So we are pretty much, we are at the reach of the hill, and we can see here that effectively there is a hill in between the 51st Armed Infantry Battalion and the area that overlooks the area of Steinbrück. If we go slightly to this side, we can see the rough terrain that we are going to get to the left. So I'm going to move slightly here so we can check the terrain here. There is this hill, so eventually if we are to move our troops over here, nothing from the guys that are defending the other side are not going to be able to see us. Now let me go to the other battalion here. This is the 1st Battalion HQ, the 318 Infantry Regiment. This is roughly, again, the area, the location of the infantry. Apparently, I'm going to show again the map here of command operations. You see that they are on woods. So we can say, and if we look a little bit to our surroundings here, let me close this. So if we look a little bit here, we can see that over here is the area, over here is the valley of the Ur River. And we can see that into the other side, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so we can start having a look at this slight slope that we have. So the infantry is going to have a more concealed area. Over there we can see where I have just set the first objective. That's the objective of Steinbrück. We're going to go there. So let me go there so we can see. Over here we see that in this area, the first objective, this is where supposedly, as you can see here, the river, this is where supposedly should be the bridge. And this is the bridge that our troops are going to cross. In a second, I'm going to turn 360, so we're going to be able to see how this looks from behind. But from here, one important thing that we can see is that this, first of all, is a valley, as we can see on the actual map of the scenario. You're going to be able to see it here. And then here we have a hill in both sides, thus creating some sort of a valley here. So now let's turn 360 here. On this side, we can see that the Ur River goes through here, and then we see the forest here, and we can understand. Let me go a little bit backwards, so we can understand that everything that is here is the location of the actual defense of the Germans, including this area. So when our troops move forward, they're going to be able to see down, and they're going to be able to shoot at anything that is in here. Now let's go to the other side, which is the location of the second objective. This is Lomos Villa. Now from here, they have an overwatch of everything that is going to be moving from this hill. As you can see, when the troops start to go down in here, these guys over here have a perfect overwatch over that movement. However, anything that goes into the objective of Steinbrück is not visible for them. Even if I move slightly here, let's say that they have some defensive positions here, they can still see much better into that hill, which is located in Germany. And finally, we have in here, I wasn't expecting that movement so aggressive, so whatever. This area is I have named it the northwest point of view. And this is the reason we cannot cross over here. If we understand that the river goes there and then goes downstreams, we can see that this is very difficult for any mechanized troops to move through here. Even though if we decide to do this, we have to cross the river and stuff like that, it's according to the map of Command Ops, it is not possible to move mechanized troops over here. And it's clearly shown on the real map over here that this is very, very rough terrain. So with this, I want to conclude this method that could be very useful for you if you want to try it. For me, it's very useful, and I find it very pleasant to see the actual terrain like this. So let's go back to the command operations. Okay, now that we have a rough idea of what is going to be the plan, we're going to move to the orders. So let's go to the parent here. You can go by moving the map and clicking to the CC able of the forearm division HQ, or you can go as well to the order of battle. Let's deselect this one and click here. You can, for example, if you don't have selected it, you can click here and you're going to see that it's now selected. So what I'm going to do is to give orders here. The first order that I'm going to use over here is going to be the defend order. And to do that, I'm just going to click over here. So now we're going to right click here and go to another option here that we have, which says edit task data. In here, we're going to have a completely different window, and we're going to see that there's a lot of stuff here. Now, don't be afraid. I'm just going to tell you what to do for the first task. You can see here that it says the task is defend, and it says that is unspecified the formation. Now, what this means is that if you do not specify the actual formation, the AI is going to take that information as if you want the actual AI to do whatever the AI wants. But we don't want that. What we want is to select here the in situ formation. What this means is that this division is going to stay in the actual formation without moving. We're not going to change anything here, so everything is going to be okay here. Okay, pretty much everything is done. So we have made the first order, and we are good to go to continue with the next steps here. So then we're going to move here and we're going to give orders to two different units here. We're going to give orders to the 22nd Armed Battalion here, which is artillery. And then we're going to give orders as well, separate orders to the able company of the 35 Tank Battalion. We're going to use these two guys to move further into here and reach this hill. So they are going to place here a defense when the attack begins and we start taking Steinbrück. These guys are going to approach the hill so they could have an overwatch over this area. How are we going to do that? Well, first of all, we have to see and use an important tool here, that is the path tool. So here we see, if we select this, for example, we see motorized, we see quickest path, shortest path, or covered path. We're going to click in here, the quickest path from here to here. And now we see is 17 minutes. What this means that it's going to take 17 minutes to reach here. And we have to think about, plan ahead, and think about how much time is this operation is going to take. We're going to go to that point just in a second, because there's another thing that we have to do here. We have to, because this war game simulates orders delay. And this is another factor that we have to take into account here. The orders delay is something around 15 minutes. I can say 15 minutes to 20 minutes. So we're going to add to those 17, we're going to add 15, roughly 30 minutes. So we have to think about this 30 minutes. So now that we have this information, because this is important, double click here, we're going to go and give the orders of defend over here. So we click this guy and we go here and say defend. We're going to click here. You can see here, this guy is going to defend here, right? We're going to right click here and go to edit the task of defend. We're going to say that they are going to form here in line. As you can see, I'm going to go slightly here. And here we see facing. This is another important thing. I'm going to put them facing, looking over here, right? So slightly here, I think we can move it here. Could be like this. More likely like this, I think. Okay, so these guys are facing this direction and they are now going to form here in line. Then we are going to tell them that they have to move. If you remember, we did the quickest, so they have to make the quickest route, because we calculated that with this, with the quickest path. Then we're going to go for aggressiveness maximum, and then we're going to go for maximum ammunition. And finally, we're going to go for no rest over here. And that's pretty much with this company of tanks. And then we're going to take this one, and this one as well, we're going to move him here. Okay, so now we're going to take this one, the 22 armed battalion here, going to give as well the order of defend in here as well. And then we're going to do the same. We're going to go for line formation. We're going to face over there. This is bigger because this is roughly the area that they are going to occupy. when the actual battalion reaches there. Then here we're going to go for the quickest. We're going to go for maximum aggression, all of the ammunition, and no rest. So there we go. Now there's something important here to take into account. We're giving the order separated because if we give the order to the actual unit that is the superior, then all of the structure is going to move, and that's the reason we're doing the orders separated here to this battalion and this company. If for some reason we want this guy that is moving here to go back to his parent, we can reattach. We can hit reattach, and this guy is going to go to his parent. Okay, so now we know that this is going to take 30 minutes to reach here. So if we see here, we see that this guy is going to start at 6:05, and basically is going to take this guy 30 minutes. So at 6:35 is going to be reaching here. So what this means that, for example, here we can start to assessing the situation. If we want to know how much time these guys are going to take from here to here, we still can go for motorized, the covered path, click from here to here. This is going to be 20 minutes, but we're going to add the fact that they are going to be battling here. So this is going to take another 10 to 15 minutes, let's say another 20, 40 minutes. So this means that these guys, if they reach here at the moment that these guys are on the battle, then these guys are going to be in trouble. So what we have to do is to delay the order of these guys. So let me show you here. We go to the actual, let me click here and here. So we go to edit here, and we want to delay the order for 10 minutes. So instead of this guy starting at 6:05, this guy is going to start at 6:15. And this other guy, instead of starting at this, we're going to add, let's say, another 10 minutes is going to be 25. There you go. Okay, with that being said, we are set for these guys, and now we're going to give the orders of these two battalions. So we click the 51st Armored Infantry Battalion HQ. We're going to give the order of attack, which is over here. We are going to set the formation, and then we're going to set the attack here. So then as well to this guy, we say that we want to form here and then attack over here. Okay, simple as that. So we have given the orders to both battalions. And another important thing to see is the fire support dialog here is going to show us what is the guys that are going to be on call for us to be ready to use their artillery. So this means that these guys are going to be deployed on call, means that they're going to be ready to receive orders and start bombarding. Let's remember that we have as well the 66 armed battalion here, that these guys, we can tell them to bombard as well. But they are not on call because they are subordinate to the orders of this guy. Okay, as you can see, setting up the actual situation is a little bit tricky. At the beginning, it seems a little bit daunting, but I am pretty sure that you are enjoying this. So don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. This was Victus. See you in the next one.